If you are over 65, here's who you shouldn't live with. Have you ever felt that the people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your happiness, especially as you age? By the time we reach 65, life has given us its fair share of challenges and wisdom. This stage should be about embracing peace, freedom, and the joys of living on your terms. Yet, not everyone around us contributes to this sense of fulfillment. Some relationships can feel heavy, draining, and even toxic, robbing us of the serenity we've worked so hard to achieve. In this video, we'll uncover the types of people you should avoid living with after 65. From controlling personalities to energy vampires, we'll explore how these dynamics can affect your well-being and, more importantly, how to reclaim your space, happiness, and freedom. Stick with me until the end, because these insights could transform how you live the rest of your life. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an opportunity to invest in your happiness. And if you find this video valuable, hit that like button and share it with someone who might need these lessons too. Now let's dive in. 1. The controllers. Taking back your freedom. As you step into the golden years of life, your freedom becomes one of your most precious assets. After decades of responsibilities, raising children, building a career, or caring for loved ones, you've earned the right to decide how you want to live. But what happens when someone close to you starts imposing their rules, opinions, or even fears on your life? These are the controllers. People who believe they know what's best for you and expect you to conform to their expectations. Imagine this. Margaret, a retired schoolteacher in her late 60s, had always dreamed of travelling. She had worked tirelessly to save for her retirement, excited about finally visiting places she'd only read about. However, her well-meaning son David had other ideas. "Mum, it's not safe for you to travel at your age," he insisted. "What if something happens? You should stay close to home and enjoy a quieter lifestyle." At first, Margaret felt guilty for wanting to go against his advice. But as the months passed, she realized her dreams were slipping away, not because she couldn't achieve them, but because she had allowed someone else's fears to dictate her choices. Controllers, like David, often come from a place of concern or love. They believe they are protecting you, but their actions can stifle your independence and strip away your ability to make decisions for yourself. Living with someone like this can feel like a constant negotiation, where your desires are weighed against their fears and expectations. Over time, this dynamic can erode your confidence and sense of autonomy. So, how do you reclaim your freedom from controllers? Start by recognizing that your life is yours alone to live. Politely but firmly establish boundaries. For Margaret, this meant sitting down with David and explaining her desire to travel, as well as the precautions she'd take to ensure her safety. She reassured him that his concerns were valid, but emphasized that her happiness mattered too. It's also important to resist the urge to seek approval for every decision. Controllers thrive on the belief that their opinions are essential. Instead, trust your instincts and remember that you've lived long enough to know what's best for you. Living with a controller doesn't have to mean sacrificing your independence. By asserting your boundaries and prioritizing your happiness, you can take back control of your life. After all, at 65 and beyond, your time is too valuable to live according to someone else's rules. 2. Adult children who take advantage. As parents, we dedicate much of our lives to nurturing our children, ensuring they grow into capable and independent adults. But what happens when the balance shifts and those same children lean on us too heavily, even when they're well into adulthood? Living with dependent adult children can take a significant toll on your emotional, financial, and physical well-being, leaving you feeling drained and undervalued at a stage in life where peace and freedom should take center stage. Take Barbara, a widow in her early 70s, for example. Her son, Eric, moved back home after a divorce. At first, she was happy to offer him a place to stay while he got back on his feet. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. Eric didn't contribute financially, rarely helped with household chores, and often asked his mother for money to cover his expenses. Meanwhile, Barbara's retirement savings dwindled as she stretched her budget to accommodate her son's needs, putting her own financial security at risk. Emotionally, she felt stuck, torn between her love for Eric and her growing resentment over the situation. This dynamic is more common than many might think, and it's rooted in the complexity of parent-child relationships. While it's natural to want to support your children, it's equally important to recognize when the support crosses into enablement. Dependent adult children often remain in this pattern because it's comfortable, and the parent feels obligated to continue the arrangement, even at their own expense. To protect your well-being, it's crucial to establish clear boundaries. Start by having an honest conversation. In Barbara's case, she sat down with Eric and explained that while she loved him deeply, her financial and emotional health could no longer sustain their current arrangement. She set a firm timeline for him to find a job and his own living space, offering encouragement but remaining resolute in her decision. It's also important to stop financing their lifestyle. Provide guidance and support for them to regain independence, but avoid becoming their perpetual safety net. For instance, instead of giving Eric money directly, Barbara helped him draft a budget and explore job opportunities. Lastly, remember that setting boundaries isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-preservation. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to care for yourself. Living with adult children who take advantage can undermine your retirement dreams, but with clarity and courage, you can reclaim your space, your finances, and your peace of mind. 3. Energy vampires, the silent drain. Not all harmful relationships are obvious. Some people quietly and consistently sap your emotional energy without you even realizing it. These are the energy vampires, individuals who leave you feeling exhausted, frustrated, or burdened after every interaction. As you step into your later years, where peace and joy should reign supreme, it's vital to recognize and distance yourself from these draining influences. Consider Evelyn, a retired nurse in her mid-60s. Her neighbor, Linda, would often drop by unannounced, bringing cookies or chatting about the weather. At first, Evelyn appreciated the company, but she soon noticed a pattern. Every visit turned into a therapy session for Linda, who would unload her endless complaints about her children, her health, and the world in general. By the time Linda left, Evelyn felt emotionally drained, carrying Linda's negativity like a heavy weight. Energy vampires like Linda don't always appear malicious. Many are unaware of their effect on others, but their constant negativity, self-centeredness, or emotional neediness can be deeply draining. They often come under the guise of friendliness or neediness, but their interactions leave you feeling depleted instead of uplifted. To protect yourself from energy vampires, the first step is recognition. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with someone. Are you energized and happy, or do you feel burdened, irritated, or emotionally empty? If it's the latter, you may be dealing with an energy vampire. Once you've identified these individuals, create boundaries to safeguard your energy. For example, Evelyn decided to set limits with Linda by politely declining some visits and keeping their conversations brief when they did interact. She gently redirected the conversations to positive topics or set a time limit, saying, "I'd love to chat, but I have some things to take care of in 20 minutes. Another strategy is to prioritize relationships that replenish you. Surround yourself with people who bring positivity, laughter, and encouragement into your life. Invest your time and energy into friendships that leave you feeling uplifted and valued. Remember, your emotional well-being is just as important as your physical health. By identifying energy vampires and taking steps to distance yourself from their draining influence, you create space for the joy and peace you deserve in this beautiful chapter of life. 4. Toxic relationships with romantic partners. Romantic relationships in later life can be a beautiful way to rediscover companionship, intimacy, and joy. But not all partnerships are healthy, and some can bring more stress than happiness. Toxic romantic relationships, those characterized by imbalance, control, or emotional manipulation, can rob you of the peace and self-respect you've worked so hard to cultivate after 65. Take the story of Claire, a retired artist, and Mark, a charming man she met in her art class. At first, their relationship was invigorating. Mark showered her with attention and praise, making her feel vibrant and alive. But as time passed, the dynamics shifted. Mark began to criticize Claire's hobbies, saying her art was a waste of time compared to other pursuits. He frequently demanded her time, expecting her to cater to his needs while dismissing her desires. Claire found herself walking on eggshells to avoid conflict, her happiness fading as she tried to appease Mark. Toxic relationships often start with excitement, but evolve into patterns of control, disrespect, or emotional exhaustion. These imbalances can leave you feeling undervalued, anxious, or even trapped. The key to recognizing such a relationship lies in how it makes you feel over time. Are you encouraged to grow, or are your dreams and independence stifled? Do you feel supported and loved, or constantly criticized and drained? If you find yourself in a toxic relationship, the first step is to reclaim your self-respect. Acknowledge that you deserve a partner who values your happiness, autonomy, and worth. Speak up about your needs and boundaries. For Claire, this meant confronting Mark about how his comments hurt her and setting clear limits on how she wanted to be treated. Sometimes, the healthiest choice is to let go of a toxic relationship altogether. While it's never easy, ending a partnership that undermines your well-being is an act of courage and self-care. Surround yourself with supportive friends or a therapist who can help you navigate this process. Remember, a fulfilling romantic relationship should be a source of joy, comfort, and mutual respect. At this stage of life, you have every right to prioritize your happiness and choose a partner who enhances rather than diminishes your sense of self. Life is too short to settle for less than you deserve. 5. The constant complainers. Escaping the negativity. We all know someone who seems to have a knack for finding the cloud in every silver lining, the constant complainer. Their grievances can range from small inconveniences to sweeping criticisms of life itself. While occasional venting is normal, chronic complaining can create a toxic atmosphere, especially if you live with such a person. For those over 65, this kind of negativity can weigh heavily on your mental health, dampening the peace and happiness you deserve in this stage of life. Imagine Robert, a retired librarian who shares his home with his cousin Nancy. What started as a temporary arrangement turned into a long-term living situation. Every morning Nancy greets him with complaints about the weather, her aches and pains, or how the world just isn't what it used to be. Over time, Robert began to notice the toll it took on him. he started dreading conversations, feeling emotionally drained, and even questioning his own optimism. Living with a chronic complainer can be exhausting. Their negativity often seeps into your own perspective, making it harder to appreciate the beauty and opportunities in life. But there are ways to protect your mental well-being while maintaining civility. The first step is to set boundaries. Limit the time and energy you invest in conversations with a chronic complainer. For Robert, this meant gently steering Nancy away from her complaints by saying, "I'm sorry you're feeling that way, but I'd love to hear about something positive that happened today." This approach acknowledges their feelings without allowing negativity to dominate the interaction. Another strategy is to disengage when the complaints become overwhelming. Politely excuse yourself by saying you have something else to do, or simply redirect the conversation to a neutral or uplifting topic. You might also find it helpful to mentally distance yourself from their negativity by reminding yourself that their outlook doesn't have to define yours. Finally, prioritize your own positivity. Surround yourself with uplifting people, engaging hobbies and activities that bring you joy. Practice gratitude daily by reflecting on the things that make you happy, even if they seem small. Life after 65 is too precious to let constant complaining overshadow your peace. By setting boundaries, disengaging when necessary, and cultivating positivity, you can protect your mental health and escape the drain of negativity. Choose joy. It's the best gift you can give yourself. 6. Time wasters. Respecting your precious years. As you enter your later years, time becomes your most valuable resource. Every moment offers an opportunity for joy, relaxation, or pursuing passions that were set aside during the busier phases of life. Yet, some people fail to respect this precious commodity. These time wasters often make endless demands, assuming your retirement means you're endlessly available to cater to their needs. Consider Grace, a retired accountant who looked forward to finally pursuing her dream of writing a memoir. However, her friend Karen frequently called, asking for favors, running errands, babysitting her grandchildren, or listening to lengthy rants about Karen's daily struggles. Grace, always kind and accommodating, found her days slipping away in service to someone else's agenda. By the end of each week, she had little energy left for her own projects, feeling unfulfilled and frustrated. Time wasters often have good intentions but fail to recognize the toll they take on your life. They assume that because you're no longer working, your time is freely available. But retirement doesn't mean sacrificing your plans or dreams to meet the constant needs of others. You've earned the right to prioritize yourself. To reclaim your time, the first step is learning to say no without guilt. Grace decided to establish boundaries with Karen by being honest. "I value our friendship, but I need to focus on my own priorities. I can't always be available." Setting limits doesn't make you selfish. It shows that you respect your time and your goals. Another strategy is to block out time specifically for yourself. Dedicate certain hours or days to the activities that bring you joy, whether it's gardening, traveling, or simply relaxing. Communicate this to others so they understand your time is not unlimited. Remember, your retirement is your time to live fully, on your terms. Don't let time wasters encroach on this precious chapter of life. By valuing your own time, you can focus on what truly matters and ensure your days are filled with meaning, purpose, and happiness. 7. People who cling to age-based limitations. One of the most insidious challenges you may face after 65 isn't from within, but from others who impose their beliefs about what you should or shouldn't do at your age. These individuals, friends, family, or even strangers, often mean well but unknowingly project their fears or stereotypes onto you. "You're too old to start that," they might say, or "Why bother with this at your age?" Such comments, though subtle, can chip away at your confidence and ambition. Take Samuel, a 68-year-old retired teacher who dreamed of learning to play the piano. When he shared this aspiration with his brother, he was met with skepticism. "At your age? Wouldn't it be better to just relax and enjoy your retirement?" For a moment Samuel doubted himself, wondering if his brother was right. But deep down, he knew his age wasn't a limitation. It was a gift of experience and perspective. The truth is, these age-based restrictions are often reflections of other people's fears, not yours. They stem from outdated beliefs about what aging means. But your life is your own, and no one else can define its limits. Breaking free from these stereotypes starts with embracing the truth. Passion and purpose have no expiration date. To overcome these imposed limitations, start by challenging the narrative. When someone questions your ambitions, respond confidently. Samuel replied, "Why not now? I finally have the time and freedom to pursue something I love." His determination inspired his brother to reflect on his own dreams. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Seek out communities or friends who share your interests and enthusiasm, reinforcing the idea that it's never too late to try something new. Most importantly, trust in your own journey. Whether it's starting a new hobby, traveling to new places, or chasing a lifelong dream, your passions are valid at any age. Reject the voices that try to hold you back, and remember, the only limitations that truly exist are the ones you allow to define you. This is your time to live boldly and fully, on your terms. 8. Dependent relatives and friends. Living with relatives or friends who rely excessively on your support can be emotionally exhausting. While it's natural to want to help those you care about, constant dependence, whether emotional, financial, or physical, can drain your energy and leave little room for your own happiness. After 65, this imbalance can feel even more burdensome as you strive to make the most of your golden years. Take Helen, a retired nurse who allowed her niece, Amy, to move in temporarily after losing her job. Initially, Helen felt good about offering support, but months turned into years. Amy showed little effort to find work or move out, instead leaning on Helen for financial and emotional stability. Helen started feeling trapped in her own home, her retirement overshadowed by the weight of her niece's problems. Situations like this aren't uncommon, but they can take a heavy toll. When someone constantly leans on you, it's easy to feel responsible for their well-being. However, allowing this dependency to continue often prevents both of you from growing. You deserve to live a fulfilling, independent life, and they need the chance to stand on their own. Setting limits is crucial and can be done without guilt. Start with an open, honest conversation. Helen eventually told Amy, "I love you and want to see you succeed, but I can't continue to support you indefinitely. Let's work together to create a plan for you to move forward." This shifted the focus to Amy's responsibility for her own life. It's also important to create boundaries that protect your time and energy. This might mean limiting financial assistance, establishing a move-out timeline, or simply stepping back from being their go-to problem solver. Remember, saying no doesn't mean you don't care. It means you recognize the importance of balancing compassion for others with compassion for yourself. By setting limits, you give dependent relatives or friends the opportunity to grow while reclaiming your own freedom and peace of mind. After 65, Your time and energy are precious. Use them wisely and unapologetically. 9. Overly critical individuals. Living with someone who constantly judges or criticizes can be emotionally draining, especially after 65, when peace and fulfillment should be the priority. Overly critical individuals often mask their judgments as helpful advice, but their words can undermine your confidence, create unnecessary stress, and make your home, a place that should be a sanctuary, feel like a battlefield. Take George, a 70-year-old retired mechanic whose brother Frank moved in with him after a financial setback. Frank was relentless in his critiques, from how George decorated his home to the way he cooked his meals. "You call this a healthy breakfast?" Or, "Why would you spend your time gardening?" It's pointless. At first, George tried to brush it off, but the constant negativity began to chip away at his self-esteem. He found himself questioning even the simplest decisions, feeling as though nothing he did was ever good enough. Criticism, when unrelenting, can erode your sense of self-worth. It can make you doubt your abilities, choices, and even your dreams. But the good news is that you don't have to internalize these judgments. Handling overly critical individuals starts with recognizing that their negativity often stems from their own insecurities, not your shortcomings. Set boundaries to protect your mental health. George eventually told Frank, "I appreciate your opinion, but I'd like you to respect my choices. This is my home, and I'm happy with how I live." By calmly asserting himself, George established a line that Frank could no longer cross. Another strategy is to reframe criticism. Instead of taking every comment to heart, evaluate whether it's constructive or simply negative. If it's the latter, let it go. Focus on the opinions that truly matter, your own and those of people who uplift and support you. Lastly, bolster your self-esteem by celebrating your achievements and embracing the things that bring you joy. Remember, no one has the right to diminish your sense of self-worth. At this stage in life, your happiness is paramount. Living with overly critical individuals doesn't have to dictate your mood or self-perception. Stand firm in your value and choose positivity every time. 10. Unsupportive people. Finding your cheerleaders. As you grow older, the people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your well-being. Living with unsupportive individuals, those who belittle your dreams, downplay your achievements, or dismiss your aspirations, can create an environment of doubt and discouragement. At 65 and beyond, this stage of life is too precious to waste on negativity. Instead, it's time to prioritize relationships with people who uplift, encourage, and celebrate you, your true cheerleaders. Take Janet, a retired chef with a lifelong passion for painting. After retirement, she finally had the time to pursue her art seriously. But her longtime friend Susan often dismissed her efforts with comments like, "Why bother? It's not like anyone's going to buy your paintings." At first, Janet tried to ignore the remarks, but over time, Susan's lack of support left her questioning her abilities and the value of her new passion. The truth is, unsupportive people can stifle your growth and joy. Their negativity can overshadow your achievements and diminish your motivation. To thrive, it's essential to surround yourself with individuals who believe in you and encourage your pursuits. Building a supportive network starts with identifying those who truly have your best interests at heart. Janet joined a local art group where she met others who shared her passion and cheered her on. Their encouragement reignited her confidence and helped her see her work through fresh, supportive eyes. Next, minimize time spent with people who bring you down. While it's not always possible to cut ties completely, you can choose to limit their influence in your life. Instead, invest time in cultivating relationships with friends, family, or community members who inspire positivity and growth. Lastly, be your own cheerleader. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small, and remind yourself that your happiness and fulfillment come first. Seek out environments and people who align with your values and dreams. After 65, every moment matters. By surrounding yourself with supportive individuals, you create a nurturing space where you can continue to grow, explore, and thrive. Life is too short for anything less. As we've explored today, the people in your life play a powerful role in shaping your happiness, especially after 65. Whether it's avoiding controllers who stifle your independence, setting boundaries with dependent loved ones, or distancing yourself from chronic complainers and energy vampires, protecting your peace is essential. Life at this stage should be about freedom, fulfillment, and choosing relationships that uplift you, not ones that drain your spirit. Remember, you've earned the right to live on your terms. This chapter of life is your time to focus on what truly matters, your dreams, passions, and well-being. Surround yourself with supportive people who celebrate your journey and embrace the possibilities that each day brings. Your happiness isn't just important, it's essential. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content that inspires and empowers. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts or let us know how these lessons resonate with you. Together, we can build a community that values joy, freedom, and living life to its fullest. Thank you for watching, and here's to creating the life you deserve.